Known as Magnetic Man, 73-year-old Lutho Lin has been defying the laws of gravity for the past decade. Large metal objects inexplicably stick to his skin. And just using a metal plate stuck to his stomach, he can even pull a 1.5-ton car.
Have you ever pondered about the wonderful weirdness of the world? Ever had a nagging wonder about the dazzling variety of human existence? Well, then you're in for a ride. Get ready to delve into the lives of some of the most unique, eccentric, and absolutely mind-boggling individuals to have ever walked this earth. From genius prodigies to human magnets, these extraordinary beings stretch the very limits of possibility. Join us as we have a look at 20 most different and unique people in the world. Number 1. William James Sidis. Have you ever encountered someone so intelligent that they would make Einstein look like a kindergarten child? Enter William James Sidis. Born in 1898, Sidis was not your average run-of-the-mill child. He was reading the New York Times by the age of 18 months and teaching himself Latin and Greek by the age of 5. No big deal, right? Graduating from Harvard at the age of 16, he would stun academia with his unparalleled intellect, and his IQ, well, it was a whopping 250 to 300. That's right, the man was a polymath beyond compare. Mastering over 40 languages and dialects, he was an accomplished mathematician, philosopher, astronomer, and a host of other ers that would leave you panting. And just when you thought, surely that must be it, well, no. Sidis was also an inventor, coming up with innovative theories about the cosmos that even modern scientists would struggle to fully comprehend. To say that Sidis was a genius would be an absolute understatement. He was an enigma, a titan of intellect, and humanity had never seen someone like him before. Number 2. Julia Gunthal. Speaking of putting yourself into an impossible position, we'll now talk about Julia Gunthal, also known by her stage name of Zlata. And no, she's not another genius who may be lost in the realm of quantum physics. She's a contortionist, a human pretzel, if you will, and boy oh boy does she twist the imagination. Julia's flexibility is so mind-boggling, in fact, that she holds a Guinness World Record for being the most flexible woman on the planet. But how flexible, you may ask? Well, let's just say that she can fold herself into a suitcase, mail herself across continents, and probably still emerge less jet-lagged than the rest of us. Imagine casually bending backwards, lifting your legs over your head, and then looking forward like it's just another day at the office. That would be Julia for you. She can perform such extraordinary feats of flexibility that scientists have deemed her spine practically unbreakable. It makes you wonder and think twice about complaining about your stiff back after a long day. And the next time that you're struggling to touch your toes during a yoga session, spare a thought for Julia. If she can use a bow and arrow with her feet while bent backwards in a handstand, well, maybe you can just stretch out a tiny bit more. Or at least laugh at your own attempts, right? Number 3. Hafthor Bjornsson. From bending bodies to impenetrable mountains, we now move on to Hafthor Bjornsson, an absolute giant of a man. Remember the Mountain from Game of Thrones? The seemingly indestructible behemoth with strength to match his size? Well, that's Hafthor. This Icelandic juggernaut isn't only an actor who's playing a strong guy, he's actually a real-life strongman, renowned around the world as being the strongest human on Earth. Now picture this, he actually holds the record for deadlifting, 501 kilograms in fact, and to put that into perspective, it's about the weight of a grand piano, a pair of polar bears, or even 100,000 marshmallows. That's right, I said marshmallows. Standing at a towering 6 foot 9 inches tall and weighing a colossal 400 pounds, Bjornsson was born to be a giant. His daily calorie intake would feed a small family for an entire day, because he literally eats, breathes, and sweats strength. So if you ever come across a car blocking your driveway and you just can't find the owner, just call Hafthor Bjornsson. He may just carry it out of the way for you and throw it down the street. It's just a day's work for the mountain of a man that walks. Now if only he could help us lift those heavy grocery bags. Number 4. Max Levchin. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it Superman? Nope, it's only Max Levchin, the titan of tech, steering the course of the digital age from beyond the scenes. Have you ever heard of him? Have you ever used PayPal? Well, yeah, he co-founded that, which is not too shabby. Ukrainian-born Levchin is a physicist turned entrepreneur, a billionaire whose innovations have transformed our online world. His ventures range from photo-sharing services to digital lending platforms, all while being a leading light in Silicon Valley tech scene. But what sets Levchin apart isn't only his knack for creating a successful company, it's his uncanny ability to identify problems and conjure digital solutions that revolutionize entire industries. And he does it all with the casual air of a guy who's just doing his job. He's a little like the Wizard of Oz, pulling the levers behind the curtain of our online lives. And so the next time you're sending money through PayPal or scrolling through your favorite app, just give a thought to Levchin, because who knows, he might just be behind your next favorite invention. Number 5. Ashrita Furman. Now we'll shift gears and talk about a man who holds more records than your local library. Ashrita Furman is a record-breaking machine, quite literally. With over 600 Guinness World Records under his belt, the guy doesn't only break the records, he shatters them. From the fastest mile on a pogo stick to the largest hula hoop spun, Furman has done it all. If there's a record out there, chances are he has broken it, created it, or is in the process of smashing it. And his motto? Well, that would be self-transcendence, constantly pushing himself to achieve what seems impossible. And boy, does he live it. And so, if you're ever feeling a tad bit adventurous or contemplative about setting a new record, you may just want to check with Furman first, because who knows, maybe you could beat him at being the fastest time to eat a raw onion, or juggling while on a unicycle. Oh wait, he's done those as well. So for now, why don't you just keep brainstorming? Number 6. Elizabeth Sulzer. Have you ever seen a melody or tasted a symphony? It sounds kind of wild, doesn't it? But not for Elizabeth Sulzer. Sulzer has a rare neurological condition called synesthesia, where her senses intermingle. She sees sounds, tastes music, and experiences the world in a way that would be tough for us normal people to even imagine. Picture yourself at a concert, not only hearing the music, but seeing a vibrant visual spectacle, tasting an array of flavors with each and every note. That is the everyday life of Sulzer, and while it may seem overwhelming, she does consider it to be a gift, a secret window into a multi-sensory world where most of us would never be able to perceive. So, when you're listening to those favorite tracks, close your eyes, and try to imagine what color those high notes might be, or what the beat might taste like. Because you might not have synesthesia, but who's to say that you can't savor the music just a little bit more? Number 7. Lu Thao Lin. Imagine being able to stick metal objects to your body as though you were a living, breathing refrigerator magnet. It sounds like a comic book superhero, right? Well, that's the everyday reality for Lu Thao Lin, Malaysia's Magnet Man. Lin discovered his unique ability when one day a metal spoon just stuck to his skin. Now, that's a party trick if I've ever seen one. He can stick anything from spoons to iron bars to his body, and they stay put as if they're glued. Scientists attribute this incredible phenomenon not only to magnetism, but to high levels of friction on his skin. And so, if you're ever having a hard time finding your keys, you might want to invite Lin over for tea. However, beware, because you'll have to frisk him before he leaves. Number 8. Natalia Demkina. Have you ever wished that you had X-ray vision, like some kind of comic book superhero? Well, Natalia Demkina, a woman from Russia, claims to have just that. And no, she doesn't wear a cape, and no, she can't see through walls. But she alleges to be able to see inside of a person's body. Demkina first discovered this unique ability as a teenager. She found that she could see structures within the human body and could even identify diseases. Now she uses her vision to diagnose ailments and has gained a considerable following of believers. And though skeptics abound, there's no denying that she has something that sets her apart. If the claim is actually true, then it's a medical marvel and a mystery that will continue to baffle scientists for years to come. So if you may be feeling under the weather, maybe you could just give her a call. Or perhaps stick with your regular old doctor and leave the X-ray vision to the comic books. Number 9. Michael Phelps. From X-ray vision to aquatic prowess, we now dive into the story of Michael Phelps, a man more at home in the water than on the land. Nicknamed the Flying Fish, Michael Phelps is the most decorated Olympian of all time, having a staggering 28 medals, with 23 of them being gold. With a wingspan that's greater than his height and size 14 feet, Phelps is built for swimming. He has smashed world records with the ease of someone doing a leisurely backstroke. During his peak in the sport, Phelps would eat a whopping 12,000 calories a day just to fuel his grueling training regime. That is a whole lot of pancakes. And while you may enjoy splashing around in the pool, sometimes you can channel your inner Phelps. You might not break any world records, but at least you'll work up an appetite for a pancake or two, or maybe even 10. Number 10. Robert, the parking prodigy. Have you ever struggled to park your car in a tight spot? Have you ever cursed the guy who left only a sliver of space for you to squeeze into? Well, meet Robert, an 87-year-old Belgian man who's got parking down to a fine art. In fact, he's known far and wide for his exceptional parking skills in tight spaces. Born in the era of horse-drawn carriages, Robert took up driving in his 20s and discovered his uncanny knack for parking even in the tightest of spaces. Over the years, he has honed his skills to the point where he could probably park a jumbo jet on a bike rack. Well, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but you get the idea. Word of his skills spread far and wide and made him something of a local celebrity. These days, he's more than happy to demonstrate his talents to awestruck onlookers. And so the next time that you're pulling your hair out over a tricky parking situation, just think about Robert. Because if an 87-year-old man can slide a car into a space with centimeters to spare, surely you can manage to park between the lines, right? Or perhaps we should just stick to riding our bikes. Number 11. Usain Bolt. Now, if you've ever turned on your television to see a blur streak past everyone else on the track, leaving them in the dust, well, that would be Usain Bolt, the Jamaican sprinter who's not only the fastest human in recorded history, but a living embodiment of pure lightning speed. Born and raised in Jamaica, Bolt burst onto the global stage at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, where he stunned the world with his electrifying performances. He effortlessly glided across the track, breaking world records with a smile on his face and a swagger in his stride. What sets Bolt apart is not only his remarkable speed, but also his ability to perform when it matters most. He's a showman, a crowd pleaser, and a true entertainer, and has an uncanny knack for rising to the occasion, thriving under pressure. He also delivers breathtaking performances when the world is watching. However, Bolt's journey to becoming the fastest man alive was not without its hurdles. He faced injuries, setbacks, and doubts along the way, yet he always came back stronger, faster, and more determined. His resilience and unwavering belief in his abilities made him a legend in the world of athletics. And beyond his on-track accomplishments, his infectious charisma and joyful personality have endeared him to fans worldwide. All of these things combined have made him not only a champion, but a beloved figure who lights up the room with his infectious smile and light-hearted antics. But what makes him so incredibly fast? Well, besides his genetic predisposition for speed, it's his incredible stride length, powerful leg drive, and impeccable technique. He's been compared to a human cheetah, effortlessly covering ground with each and every stride. His achievements are staggering. He's won a total of 8 Olympic gold medals, set multiple world records, and is the only sprinter in history to win the 100-meter and 200-meter events in 3 consecutive Olympic Games. His record-breaking times and dominant performances are forever etched in the annals of sports history. But beyond the accolades and the records, his impact reaches far beyond the world of athletics. He's become a symbol of hope, inspiring countless individuals to chase their dreams, push their limits, and never settle for anything less than extraordinary. Usain Bolt comes with lightning speed, an infectious smile, and an unwavering belief in himself. And who knows, you may just surprise yourself with what you're capable of achieving if you channel all of those things. Usain Bolt has taught everyone that the impossible is only a starting point on the path to greatness. Number 12. Joseph Dillard. Meet Joseph Dillard, a polyglot who doesn't only dabble in a second language, he's actually mastered an astounding 59 of them. Imagine navigating effortlessly from Arabic to Zulu, from Finnish to Mandarin, all in one conversation. Dillard does just that, and with a fluency that would make native speakers envious. Growing up in a multicultural neighborhood, he discovered a love for languages early on in his life, and made it his mission to not only learn, but also to master as many of them as he could. Today, his linguistic prowess is a testament to the incredible adaptability of the human brain. And now I know what you're thinking, I can barely handle the English language, and this guy is fluent in 59 of them? Yes, it may be daunting, but remember, the journey of 1,000 miles, or in this case, languages, begins with one single step. So the next time that you're struggling with a foreign phrase or fumbling over a tricky pronunciation, take heart, because we all have to begin somewhere. Number 13. Yasuke Show Match. From a master of languages to a master of the blade, we now turn our attention to Yasuke Show Match. This Japanese swordsman possesses incredibly fast reflexes, which allows him to slice tennis balls in midair. And if you think that's impressive, it's only a casual Tuesday for him. Armed with his trusty katana, he has spent years honing his skills with the blade. His speed and precision are such that he can slice a bullet mid-flight. It's a feat that requires not only a physical prowess, but also an intense mental focus that few could achieve. And just imagine being involved in a game of tennis, and then he shows up and slices the ball into with a sword. That's something that even John McEnroe could not get mad about. Number 14. Mansa Musa. What if I told you there was a man that was so wealthy that his generous handouts caused an economic crisis? Well, meet Mansa Musa, a 14th century king from Mali who's thought to have been the wealthiest person in history. His realm was full of abundant resources, and let's just say that he was swimming in a sea of gold. Musa's wealth was so vast that it's hard to comprehend, but one story says that during a pilgrimage to Mecca, he brought a caravan of 60,000 people and reportedly gave away so much gold that it devalued the metal for a decade. That's what you call being loaded. So if you've ever dreamt about winning the lottery, just think about Mansa Musa, and remember, wealth is not only about gold that you give away, but also the richness that you can bring into other people's lives. Oh, and if you do strike it rich, just remember not to cause an economic crisis. And remember your favorite narrator from this YouTube channel in the future. Number 15. Arnold Schwarzenegger. From a king of gold to a king of iron, let's pump some weights with Arnold Schwarzenegger. His journey from an Austrian village to the Hollywood Walk of Fame is a testament to the power of determination and a whole lot of muscle. Schwarzenegger began his career as a bodybuilder, earning the title of Mr. Universe at just the age of 20. He would then set his sights on Hollywood and gave everyone unforgettable performances in films like The Terminator, Predator, Conan the Barbarian, and Jingle All the Way. But Schwarzenegger didn't stop there. He even ventured into politics, serving as the governor of California from 2003 until 2011. And so whether you may be striving for success in the gym, or on the silver screen, or even in the political arena, you should remember Arnold Schwarzenegger's mantra. Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. Number 16. Catherine Brum. Do you lift, bro? Because if not, you might want to start after you hear about Katharina Brum, a strong woman who gives a whole new meaning to the phrase girl power. Her ability to lift heavy weights is nothing short of superhuman. She's literally redefined what it means to be strong. Born and raised in a small town in Germany, she would discover her passions and talent for weightlifting in her teens, and from there, she would push her body to the limit, shattering records and stereotypes along the way. Today, she's one of the strongest women on the planet. And if you ever find yourself struggling to lift that heavy suitcase or even open a stubborn jar of pickles, you should remember there's a woman out there who can actually lift your car. And who knows, with a little determination and a whole lot of protein, maybe one day you can as well. Number 17. Juan Mora. From a tale of extreme strength, we now pivot to a story of extraordinary longevity. Meet Juan Vicente Perez Mora, recognized by the Guinness World Records as the oldest living person in the world. Now, this is a man who has seen some history. He's been through 2 centuries, has seen a dozen United States presidents, and countless technological advances. And while we might be complaining about the latest iPhone update, he's lived through the invention of the telephone itself. Just let that sink in for a moment. And while you might be feeling old because you can't keep up with the latest TikTok dance, or because you actually remember what a VHS is, just remember Juan. Age, after all, is just a number to him. Number 18. Ludwig van Beethoven. How would you compose a symphony if you couldn't hear the notes? It would be impossible, you might think, but not for Beethoven, one of the most influential figures in the history of classical music, who did exactly that, composing some of his greatest works while almost completely deaf. Beethoven began to lose his hearing in his late 20s, a crushing blow for his musicianship, but instead of giving in to the despair, he then turned his struggles into strength. He continued to compose, producing masterpieces that withstand the tests of time. So, when you're facing an obstacle that may seem insurmountable, you should remember the story of Beethoven. Because after all, if he could compose an entire symphony in his head, surely we can overcome our little hiccups, right? Number 19. Vincent van Gogh. From a man who couldn't hear to a man who saw too much, we now delve into the world of Vincent van Gogh, a Dutch post-impressionist painter whose works are considered to be some of the most iconic and influential art in the world. Vincent van Gogh battled mental illnesses all throughout his life, and his tormented psyche infused with his art with an emotional depth that few artists can match. Though he lived in obscurity and poverty during his lifetime, his art has since gone on to be recognized for its beauty, emotion, and innovative style. So, while you may feel like your work or the things that you do go unnoticed, you should also think about Vincent van Gogh, because he may not have enjoyed success during his own lifetime, but his art has endured, touching countless hearts along the way, long after he's been gone. Number 20. Philippe Petit. Now, we've met someone who can master languages, a contortionist and the strongest man in the world, and even someone who could stick metal to his body. But have you ever met someone who walks on air? No, it's not a fairy tale. It's Philippe Petit, a high-wire artist who's dared to tread where others would never have dreamt of looking. In 1974, he committed what he calls the artistic crime of the century. He strung a wire between the twin towers of the World Trade Center, and without a safety net or even a harness, he walked across it. This feat would be unauthorized, illegal, and absolutely breathtaking. Born in France, he discovered his passion for wire walking as a teenager, inspired by the tightrope walkers at the circus. He then began to teach himself, practicing for many hours a day on a wire that he'd rig between two trees. His stunts grew more and more bold and more daring, and that culminated in the walk between the Twin Towers. In the early morning hours of August 7, 1974, New Yorkers would look up to see a man walking on a wire between the towers over 400 meters above the ground. For almost an hour, he danced, laid down, and even jumped on the wire, captivating the city below. And you're probably thinking, why on earth would anyone do that? Well, as Petit himself would say, why is the enemy of creativity. His feat was not about the why, but about the what. The what of possibility, the what of daring, the what of human achievement. His walk between the Twin Towers is a reminder of what humans can achieve when we all dare to dream and when we push the boundaries of what may be possible, and when we refuse to be limited by the question of why. It shows everyone that if you find yourself hesitating on the edge of a decision, a risk, or a challenge, you should remember his feats, because whether your wire is a literal one that's strung between skyscrapers or a metaphorical one in your own life, it's not about why you're doing it. It's about the thrill of the walk, the joy of the dance, and the rush of knowing that even for a moment, you defied gravity. What did you think about these incredible people? And have you ever met an incredible person yourself? Let me know about it in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to this channel for more like it in the future, and I'll see you next time.